Hey guys, Sandra from Metal Wani here with James from TesseracT. How you doing today?
I'm very good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well. So first off, how has the tour gone so far, touring with Contortionist?
It's been amazing. It's well exceeded expectations. The crowd's been phenomenal. The new material's been received very well. Our show in Montreal the other night got upgraded because of lots of tickets, which is always good. So yeah, been overwhelmed by the response. And the Contortionist, well, they've been keeping us in check because they're also an amazing band. But so making sure that we don't, they can keep us upping our game, because if we don't, they'll be better than us.
Competition all the time.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, going from country to country, touring all over, do you notice a difference in the fan reception depending on where you go?
Not necessarily, actually. I think generally, like, all places around the world are different, and cultures are different, and the scenery is different. But generally, I find that whenever we play a show, the people in that room are like, it could be anywhere in the world. Everyone's kind of got the same attitude, the same vibe, and up for having a good time. So yeah.
Do you have a favorite place to go play? Or?
Not really. I have a least favorite place.
Yeah. Are we going there?
I probably should.
Going into that? Okay. All right. Well, performing consistently from night to night for months on end, what do you do to keep in shape musically?
To be fair, playing every day kind of keeps you in shape. Like the first few gigs are always a little bit rough around the edges, and then we kind of tweak, and every now and again, before sound check, but if there's anything that things not quite right, we jam around it. And also some of us teach as well. We give lessons, and although it's obviously you're teaching a student, at the same time you learn quite a lot when you teach, because it's, you're kind of going over techniques and ideas in your head, and that, and making sure we eat lots of kale.
Of course. Okay. Well, you said everyone has been reacting positively to the new album. Anything in particular that like really stood out? That any like fan reception to you? Like.
No, I think it's. I guess overall there's a feeling of being really overwhelmingly sort of happy about people's response, but it's also a relief as well, because we've been through a lot of changes. In the last 4 years, we've had 3 different singers. And,
I was going to ask what it's like to have Dan back.
Yeah, well, basically, with Dan coming back, I think there was a certain level of pressure. It's like, wow, this really has to deliver, otherwise people will tear us to shreds. And so, luckily, people haven't torn us to shreds. So, we're not feeling quite happy about it.
That's good. Okay. So when it comes to playing live versus recording in the studio, do you have a preference?
Well, playing live is obviously like loads and loads of fun, and I guess the recorded track is the beginning of the journey of a song. So like the song is written, put onto tape. That makes me sound really old. Put onto a hard drive. That be the correct created digitally in some weird world. But then from then onwards, we're playing it every day. Everything gets sort of tweaked and it evolves, and things that were maybe quite straight or regimented, we've learned how to sort of groove them a bit more. And I think playing live definitely is the best, because it's you make the song grow, and you also get to go out and meet people and have a nice time.
So for the musicians out there, can you give a quick overview of the gear used on the album, using now?
I guess guitar-wise, the album was mostly recorded with an Axe FX 2, which we had in Apple's studio. Although live we're running the old school Axe FX Ultras. Excuse me. It's partly through to practicality, because there's so much programming on there. But also, it's quite funny. Like live, it's been hard to kind of recreate some of the guitar tones on the Ultra on the 2. We're going to have to do it eventually, because the Ultra is becoming almost obsolete. And, like nobody uses it anymore. Kind of feel like the retro digital guys. But, what else? What other gear are we using? Amos uses Warwick basses. He uses a dark glass preamp, which is pretty killer. Jay's using crushed drums and Sabian cymbals. And Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'm playing Ibanez RGDs and LA custom shop guitars. Eccles playing Ibanez. But is this interesting or boring? I'm just listing off where's the car name? I need to read off the list. Yeah, he's using Mayonnaise guitars. He's using sort of Regius and Cetius, which are both ridiculously nice guitars. Although I play Ibanez, so I've got to say that Ibanez is better, otherwise I'm quite happy.
Obviously.
But, yeah, and we have lots of cables. We have lots and lots and lots of cables. So many cables that, you know, are made our shipping £500, which was $700 more expensive than cables. You know, got to run the cables.
Okay.
Made by so I plugged them.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, going from album to album, how do you feel TesseracT has progressed as a band?
I think songwriting-wise, it's matured quite a lot. Like if you listen to the earlier stuff, where it's kind of like riff after riff, it was very much about writing continuous kind of progressive music. Whereas now, I think there's been, it's not been intentional, but there's songs are more like songs now. I think it's a lot simpler, simpler melodies, and I guess more focus on sort of like subtle nuances rather than crazy techie stuff. So yeah, I think it's just simplified and grown up a little bit.
Okay. A couple months ago, I spoke to Amos. We had a Skype interview, and I asked him about the term Djent and if there are any parameters when it comes to being a progressive metal band in general and writing material. What's your take on that? Do you feel there are limitations, fan expectation?
I think there are if you allow them to be. I think by definition, progressive music doesn't have limitations. The whole idea of being progressive is trying to do new things and trying to take things forward. I think the Djent tag could be limiting because, I don't know, does that mean that you're only allowed to play one kind of chord? I don't know. You've got to sound like a Sugar rip-off band.
Yeah.
And we were, all of us were the Sugar rip-off bands. So I think the first time. But I'd like to think that most of these bands have now evolved from that. And I don't mind the tag Djent particularly. It kind of categorises loads of bands for a certain period of time. I kind of think Djent was this thing, and towards the end of the last decade, when it was like, you know, the early Periphery, TesseracT, Chimp Spanner, Monuments, and all those bands sort of ripping off Sugar in their own way. But I think, and Animals as Leaders obviously as well. There's probably loads more bands I'm forgetting. Sorry if I've forgotten. I think most of these bands have evolved way beyond that now, and I think, well, hopefully continue to do so in the name of progression.
Of course. Do you have a favourite track off of Polaris, or one that stands out to you?
I'm a big fan of the opener, Dystopia, just because it's got a really big, meaty riff, and the verses are really fun to play. It's kind of, it's groovy. Enjoy Survival, that's good. It's kind of a bit of a pop song. Seven Names, the last track on the album, is really, it's quite fun to play.
Okay. In terms of writing material, when you're dealing with writing odd meters and stuff like that, do you count that out? Do you feel it? How does that?
Yeah, none of it's counted out. It's all kind of just written and put together, and then have to figure it out afterwards. So that's quite a lot of it is kind of written on computer, and so I could just jam lots of ideas in together and chop and paste and cut and move things around, and then be like, okay, that works, and then it's like, right, now we actually need to learn it from scratch and actually figure out how to play some other stuff. It's quite a lot of the writing process is, it's a mixture of organic writing and editing, if you like. I think, again, like with lots of the drum patterns, it's not really jammable stuff. It's kind of, I guess it requires, you need a computer to write it because it's just too hard otherwise.
Yeah. Who would you say your biggest influences are, either in general or currently?
I would say Pink Floyd and Meshuggah.
Makes sense. I could see that. So double albums, especially in progressive metal, seem to be really getting popular now. There was Periphery, obviously. Now Dream Theater has announced they're doing this big double rock opera thing. Would that be something in Tesseract's future?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Never say never. We're not planning on doing that. I know we're planning on doing some more experimental things, like we may be looking at another sort of acoustic-y kind of record, or something maybe some more electronic focus, because we work very closely with our sound engineer, Aidan now, who's an electronica producer and has almost become a member of the band now. He did a lot of work on the album. So we definitely want to investigate lots of these areas. Really don't know what's going to happen next. It will be something different though. In terms of double albums, it depends how much material there is. If we haven't got enough songs, then if we have, then maybe. Or we might be lazy and save that for another album, so we don't have to write anymore.
Okay, so finally, after this North American leg of the tour, you guys are going to Europe to play in February. You excited for that? Is there a specific...
Yeah, it seems like a lifetime away at the moment. But, well, it's been amazing playing with the Contortionists so far. We're taking them to Europe with us as well, so we know each other quite well by that point. And I can't wait to play with them out there and play our some hometown shows. Go around Europe and eat all the crazy food, which is always great. Not as good as poutine, though, obviously, as we're in Canada. We need to be very pro poutine. Yeah. I once said something negative about poutine in an interview once, and there was a real backlash. It was for angry Canadians shouting at me. So I've learned to just say poutine is the best.
We have our priorities sorted out, yeah. So beyond that, what's next? Do you have anything planned?
After that we're doing summer festivals in Europe, and maybe a bit further beyond. I think we're hoping to do some Asian dates as well. And then there's talk of maybe coming back and doing a North America tour at some point, sort of hitting loads of the places that we haven't managed to this time around. But kind of juggling ideas at the moment. But I think the main focus is going to be sort of touring this record as much as we can, and then thinking about what we're going to do next.
Okay, well, thank you for talking to me today.
Cool.